And this evening marked the 23rd anniversary of the September 11th terrorist attacks on the United States. To memorialize the lives lost, the Broome County United Way held a remembrance ceremony in collaboration with the Broome County Veterans Memorial Association. Local uniformed veterans paid tribute to the victims by holding a color ceremony. Their ceremony took place in front of United Way's display of nearly 3,000 American flags, honoring those who lost their lives during the attack. Told Me spoke with Walt Loveless, who spoke on the tragic events that unfolded and why it's important to remember those we've lost.
These people were innocents. So what we're doing is remembering the innocent people that died, both in New York City and in Shanksville, Pennsylvania.
The ceremony in Vestal was part of the United Way's annual Day of Caring event.